Welcome to the Vision Creator Podcast, From Corporate to Creator, with your hosts, Pamela Martino and Debbie Williams.
Debbie, welcome to Vision Creator Podcast. We made it. We
We made
made it. This has been a year in the making. We've talked about this so many times. And when I think about that time span that we've been iterating on the podcast and what is it going to look like and what is it going to sound like, the thing that came to me earlier this week was from corporate to creator.
it.
And so, of course, this is our first show. We're kicking it off. And we want to share with our listeners and our viewers how we got here. How did we get here? And so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you go first for an introduction, and then I can come in or.
Okay. Hello, my name is Debbie. I'm Debbie Williams. I am a serial entrepreneur. Right now, I have two businesses. One of my businesses upskills, and what I do, I train, I coach, and I consult with individuals as well as startup businesses. And my second business is D. Williams Properties LLC. And what I do, I own apartment buildings individually, and or with independent investors who want the passive income but do not want the headaches of owning and operating apartment buildings. So that's what I do. So how did I get here? Good question. As a young girl growing up in the inner city and very poor, I often wondered, how did people not get in a situation of being poor and in the inner city? In other words, how did people build wealth? And throughout my learnings, I learned there was three things that people needed. They needed a business. They needed also to invest in the stock market, and also they needed to have real assets, like just real estate. So throughout as I was getting my degrees, and the first one was chemical engineering, and then the second one was a master's in technology, and the second master's in Christian counseling. As I worked corporate jobs and did various different corporate roles, and at various Fortune 500 companies, I always took a portion of my income and invested in those three areas. So as a result, my last corporate role is where I met my dear friend Pamela, and we realized we both had a lot of synergies, especially when it came to real estate and businesses and investing. So as a result, we decided, hey, you know what? It'd be really cool if we help others who may be in corporate America and don't really understand what's this alternate world that we live in called real estate and real estate investing. So we decided, hey, let's communicate, let's put this out to the broader world and see who we can help as a result. So with that said, Pamela, I'll turn it back over to you. You tell your
Thank
story.
you. Yes. So very similar to Debbie's story. And this is the awesome thing that we didn't know each other until our corporate lives intersected. And I started out, I'm located now in Charlotte, North Carolina. Debbie, you're in Pennsylvania. Interestingly enough, I'm actually from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up. And I've been on a career path for a very long time as well. I just got my MBA in May in strategy and leadership. And even prior to getting my MBA, I too have been in real estate for the last 20 years, almost 20 years now. And so I always still had, I call it a dual career. I always had my real estate on the side, even though I was pursuing my corporate interests. And so over the last 25 years and working in different corporate roles, when I met Debbie in our last corporate company, it was like almost like an instant connection. And so as we built that trust up with one another, we started saying, hey, guess what I do on the side? Guess what I do on the side? And it was just like the perfect match. And so we would just share information and just building our real estate businesses. And so a part of what, how we got here, things happen in corporate America. We decided that we were going to, take an exit package and just be walk in faith and start some of our desires that God had put in our heart long ago. And this was one thing that we wanted to give an opportunity to give voice to our dreams and hopes, and hopefully it encourages other people to pursue their dreams and hopes. And so, again, we've been planning this for the last year. And so now we finally are here. We're here. We're excited. I'm looking forward to hearing the stories of our listeners, our viewers, giving people a platform to come on and share how they got to where they are, encourage people to pursue their dreams, whether it be real estate or whatever their hopes and dreams and goals are. And that we can give people that extra boost, whatever it is that they need to move forward in their dreams and desires. So here we are. And so today, we want to take a format of, what is our what and our why, and again, our what was how do we get here, and we just talked about our why and why this is important to us, and hopefully, we can attract the people who have similar energy and desires that we do, that we can help them along their path as well. And so let's move on to maybe now, some of our lessons that we've learned in our so what, in going through our corporate experiences. And of course, you've had your separate ones, I've had mine, and then we met at our final corporate experience, and we both have lessons learned to come out of that.
Yep,
Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I told, yeah. So what? So what for me was that as I looked around in corporate America, everybody was in the moment, right? Everybody was always in the moment of what was happening in corporate, who was the CEO, who wasn't CEO, who was getting fired, who was getting laid off. And for me, my vision was always, I'm just passing through. This is a journey, not a destination for me. And so my vision was, how can I leverage what I have, the resources I have, in what I had in my hand, to further get me to that ultimate vision, which was to be financially free. And so so my mindset was completely different. While the storm was brewing underneath me, or above me rather, I always had I was casting my net wide and just focusing on the bigger vision and using the tools that God gave me to get there. And so by the grace of God, to be in a position to help others is really, really, it's a good feeling. It's just a good feeling. And so now, as I see people there's massive layoffs happening all over the place, in November 2025. And it's heartbreaking to hear that there's no plan B for a lot of them. They have no plan B. That their job was the plan. There was no plan B. And so what we're doing today, Pamela, is really going to help a lot of people who will have no plan B. And some may be like, wow, Debbie, you guys started 20, 30, almost 30 years ago. Is it too late? And my answer, no, it's never too late. What's impossible for man is possible for God. As long as you take God with you, you'll be able to accomplish everything your heart's desire. So that's my view. What do you think, Pamela?
I 100% agree. And so interestingly enough, when I look back over my life, I've been a lifelong entrepreneur as well. And mine actually started when I was a little kid, and growing up in Pittsburgh, I would knock on my neighbor's doors and ask them if I can pull the weeds out between their bricks to earn money. And at that point, at whatever I was, maybe 7, I didn't know what an entrepreneur was, other than I just knew that I wanted money so I could go buy candy. And then I would ask if I can walk their dog. And so just, trying to be original because I was obviously too young to have a job, but I guess in my little mind, I knew that I could earn money doing these kind of neighborhood things. And so, I've always been a visionary. I've always had ideas. And, coming up and going off to college, I had this bright idea of, what my corporate aspirations and my dreams were. And I at that point in my life, I did not have a dream of, I didn't say I didn't have the dream. I guess maybe I didn't see of my own business. I knew that I always wanted to be a businesswoman, but I thought that businesswoman encompassed corporate America, that they were the ones that were going to make me the businesswoman. And so I had these high aspirations of, being this top executive, and I pursued that for probably 15 years. And so what I realized, it it was just like one door shut after another. I was never really given that opportunity, and it made me always question what's wrong with me. Am I not enough? Maybe I need to go do this. So I would go get this certification. I'll go do this certification. And then at one point I worked for the bank, and it was layoff, layoff, layoff. It was never anything consistent. And so I spent a lot of time trying to knock down doors that just weren't opening for me. Right. So I met a lady in one of my contracting opportunities. She was a real estate agent. And she said to me, "You would be a great realtor." And I'm like, really? I never even gave thought to that. And so the day I went to go sign up for class, I came back to work after my lunch break, and within like 2 hours, got laid off.
Wow.
And so I knew then I was headed down the right path, because up to that point, corporate America had complete control over my money. If I wasn't working, I didn't make money. And I knew that I had 2 little kids, right? I knew that wasn't a way, and a husband, but I just knew that wasn't what I wanted for myself, to be 100% dependent upon corporate giving me a paycheck. And so I pursued my real estate, got my license. That was in 2008. And as they say, the rest is history. Although it was a slow start for me in real estate, I didn't make my first sale until 2012. But after that, I learned the pattern, and then I could deviate from that pattern and build my own process, which is one of the things I'm really good at once I see how it's done. And I've taken that and I've built my real estate business, which is the Madison Martino Real Estate Group. And I still kept my corporate career, but when there was a mass layoff or something going on, it wasn't a shock factor for me, because I knew I had another means to provide for, my family. And so, it was so many lessons learned. And, in that lesson learned, as I mentioned earlier, I started on the path of getting my MBA at 50 years old. And so I know that could be, that could be daunting for people, right? But it was a path that I had started 25 years prior, but I had small kids and timing was just off. But I knew it was something that I wanted to pursue, and I did that. And so I got my MBA in this past May in strategy and leadership, not expecting to be, departing from the company we were with and being offered a package there. But now, it's one of those things you look back and you're like, it's okay. I understand why some of the things happened the way they did. I still got my MBA. Here we are. It kind of forced you potentially to go harder with our dreams. And so Absolutely. Here we are. Our what is right now. Our what is right now.
100%. 100%. And it's interesting because while some people are just having a whole mental breakdown, we're excited. We're super excited. We're like, God, you're opening the door for us to just, go hard. Not to say that we weren't going hard, but just really just create the vision that you put inside of us, right? God says, I know the plans I have for you. They're good and not of evil, to give you a future and expected end. So He had the plans for us all along, and our divine connection created what we have today. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also the thing that we say, we know that if nothing else, we know that this last corporate role brought us together. If it wasn't meant for anything else, it brought us together for us to meet and for us to pair up and to bring your gift, to bring my gift, and it will serve the masses. And that's ultimately what we want to do, is not just for us, and anybody who has any spirituality, you know that your gift is not for you to hoard, it's for you to share. And so we're here to share that gift and to bring the people along with us. And so, it may not have mapped out the way I thought it would in corporate America, but the desires are still there to bring people along with me and to bring, help people along the path. We're going to have many, many guests on this show that will hopefully nurture and give insight to mortgages and how to and should I and just a gamut. We're going to cover a gamut of conversation. So it just, won't be centered around real estate. It's going to be centered around the conversations that we hear from our guests and what they want to hear and things that they're interested in. So, and that we're all going to benefit from it. So there's going to be, we're going to bring the experts. We're going to bring the experts to the table to talk through all the things that people have on their heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to echo that, right? So it's the things that people have in their heart. So as we broadcast these messages out to the audience, if there's something you have in your heart, please let us know, because that's going to drive the direction that we're going to go. We're going to go where the heart drives you. And if you're in a state of panic and like, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. I just lost my job. I don't even know. I don't know what to do. But the Bible says the word is the lamp unto your feet and the light unto your path, right? So we can help you just take that one step. We can help be the lamp and show you that one step to take on the path that you may not even know that God is calling you to be on. But if He can show you that one step, the path will light itself up, illuminate, and give you the wisdom and guidance. Like, we didn't know we were going to end up to where we were. We just took one step. It just took one step, and as we took more and more steps, it just led us. Even with this podcast, we had the vision a year ago, but we didn't start until a year later. Why? Because there were so many paths that we could take, and we were exploring each and every. I know I was exploring every single path that God presented to me, but it led us right back to the path we started. But now we have so much more to bring. We have so much more to bring with us that we've learned in the course of the year that we absolutely want to share. But again, it's in light of what's on your heart. So if you can share what's on your heart with us, and we can bring the resources and the people that can help give you that illumination that you need in terms of knowing what's the next step to take. Right, Pamela?
I love that. Absolutely. And the other thing I think too, Debbie, that's worth mentioning, we have been preparing for a year. Now, I do believe in preparation is necessary.
Absolutely.
But we were talking earlier this week or even last week, we still got to do this, we still got to do that. And it was like, okay, it's like now or never. We got to just jump out there and start, right? And so things won't be perfect this first time around, maybe not even the second or third time around, but the thing is just to start, right? And I think that's really important to let our audience know. We probably are all up to our neck with ideas, but just how do we start, or where do we start, and afraid to start. You've heard people say it, start with your knees shaking and work out the kinks as you go. And I think that's a great, a wisdom. Just start. And then other things will fall into place of maybe what's the next step. Because you may not have all the answers when you start, but we started. And let's go back and talk about the name Vision Creators and where that originated from. And so through our corporate conversations when we were working, but also having our sidebar conversations, our multiple sidebar conversations, we would talk about visions and the things that God had put in your heart, things that God put in our heart. And just as women, we create. We have babies. We're creators. And so just to play on words and spelling, we are creators, but we are females. We're her. We're she's. And so we just brought that in, changed it a little bit to emphasize the her. We are the vision creators. So hopefully that's understood in the title or the naming of our podcast, Vision Creators. And so I'm excited about that. And so it's female empowerment, male too, but we want to talk to our lady friends out here and just again encourage our female comrades out here that are in the fight with us every day as moms, as entrepreneurs, as dual career people. They're pursuing their dreams, but also working. We get that, right? We can relate to that because we have been in those trenches. And so I again, our hope is that we'll be able to encourage encourage each of you out there to go for it. And one of the things that I had written down as a tagline to our podcast is in where we wanted to go is building businesses, wealth, legacy through innovation, strategy, and bold leadership, one vision at a time. One vision at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let everything overwhelm you with all your ideas. Let's hone in on one. And once you get that one started, then you'll maybe see the pathway for the other ideas that you have to be birthed.
Absolutely. Like I always say, we build this plane as we fly it. So
Yeah.
whether you believe it or not, you're gonna go on a ride with us, right? And we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you. Because we don't know where this is going. We don't know where we're gonna end up, but we just know we're here.
Yes.
And we're taking that first step. And so if you wanna go on a wild ride with us and have a good time, we're here for that. We're your girls. We can
Yeah.
help you.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the goal is to be as transparent as possible, and just know that we don't have it all together. And as Debbie said, we'll be flying this plane, or we're flying the plane as we're building it. And hopefully that'll give courage as well that it's not all put together. Again, we just want to reemphasize that when you have an idea, we want to hear from you. And we want your stories to be heard. We want the lessons that you've learned to be shared. We want you to know that we hear you, we see you, and you are going to make it. And so it's a tough time out here. 2025 has been tough for a lot of people, but 2026 is on the horizon, which is what's behind us. You can't see now. There's on the horizon behind us, but there's new things coming. So 2025 may not have been exactly the way you put it down on your goal sheet, but keep writing your goals down. Keep writing them down. Keep emphasizing the things that you desire to pursue. 2026 is coming, and so we'll have new beginnings to embark upon in 2026, and we can dust ourselves off and start again.
Absolutely. Pamela is so positive. That's why I love her so much. She is just, she makes my day. So, yes, I love that. Absolutely. It doesn't matter where you start. It really doesn't matter. As long as you start. If you never start, you never get there, right? So some people are even afraid just to take the next step, because they got to see the whole picture.
Yeah.
And life doesn't work that way. And some people are so afraid to take the next step. They stay in the same spot for a very long time, and we don't want you to do that. We want you to just we're like, again, we're on a plane that probably doesn't have a back to it, but it just has but we're your airline stewardess, and we're gonna put a backpack on you just in case you fall out. You'll land a parachute. We got a parachute on you, and you'll land safely. So we'll just come, scoop you up again, and we'll try it again. So failure is actually an ability to learn how you can do better. So if you don't make small failures, you'll never learn where your ultimate goal is. And I've made a lot of failures. I've had a lot of ups. I had a lot of downs, but they all led me to where I am today. And I wouldn't replace any of those lessons that I've learned.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for each and every last one of them. So I don't know, Pamela, what do you think?
I 100% agree. I think, you've heard it. We've all heard it. We are who we are today because of the things that we've been through, and they've been hard. And I've often said to myself, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. If somebody asked me, was it worth it? The hard, I'm going to tell them, no, it was hard. And, but I know that built my muscle.
Yes.
That built my muscle. And possibly why I'm here today in front of this audience, because now I have the courage. I've been through so much. I have a lot to share. And again, I hope it's inspiring to all that, that are going to tune into us. And again, like I think you said earlier, Debbie, this is going to be a journey. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how to make it, where to store it, and how to replicate it and make it grow.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna go so far to even bringing in people to talk about Bitcoin. I know that's been a hot topic out here for a lot of people who don't, maybe in our age bracket, our age group may not understand it, but we're gonna bring some understanding to that conversation and get people the wisdom to decide whether or not that's the path. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. And also too, I'm going to add relationships, right? Because,
Yes.
when you're the breadwinner or when people rely on you heavily as a source, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of weight on you, right? People have expectations of you that you may not even have of yourself, right? So we may get into that. We may get into the relationships with your spouse. We may get into a relationship with your children,
Yeah.
right? Your mom, your dad. If you are in a sandwich where you have older parents that lean on you so much, that they take the life out of you, right? Or you may have a wayward child who's just draining you, right? So, whatever is in the way of you accomplishing all that God has for you, we're gonna talk about it, and
We're
and
gonna
we're gonna
talk about
yeah,
it.
we're gonna be your airline students, and we're gonna be with you on that journey. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what you think, Pam?
Yeah, no, that I mean, Debbie, you touched it, and there's so much more. I mean, oh man, adult parenting, adult children. What happens when your adult children come back home,
Oh,
right? Do, do you give a curfew, or can they
can
stay
you
out as
build
late as they want?
it?
All the things that that life brings, that maybe you think you send your kids off out there, and they got it right, and next thing you know they need to come back home. So, and you hit it too on parenting, or your parents, the sandwich generation. And maybe now you have multiple generations in your house, and what do? How do you navigate that? So I'm so excited that we finally are here,
Yes.
and that we have so much in us to share, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with many, many people out there. And again, there are conversations that we may not be within our wheelhouse because we haven't experienced it, but I definitely want to open the door, like we talked about earlier, giving our viewers and our listeners the opportunity to talk to us and tell us what they want to hear. And so we can make sure that we have an expert in those areas that, again, it may not have directly impacted us, but it can help someone else that's listening. And so what we do know is that we're not the only ones going through whatever it is that we're going through. So although it may not have impacted us, someone else's story, but whoever's story it is, there's probably 10, 100, thousands, 100,000 other people that have gone through that. So we're here to help facilitate those conversations. Debbie, you're an expert too in counseling. So you have some wisdom there that you can share as well on how to mend some maybe broken relationships, and bring about peace in our lives, in our households, in our friendships and relationships. So we're excited about what God is going to do, and we're thankful for the opportunity for you all wanting to hear from us, wanting to tune into us and listen to us. And hopefully you'll hold our hands with us virtually and go down this journey with us. Anything else, Debbie, you want to close in?
You said it all. You said it all. God is the source. He's the driver, and we are the participants. We heard the call. We heard the call that there's a need, and we answered the call. Like I think it was Isaiah or Jeremiah, send me, right? So we heard the call, and we're asking to send us, and so we're here, and hopefully, God willing, we will help others who can help others, right? So that's the goal.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we hope you will tune in next week. We'll have more conversation and more to come, and we'll have ways for you to get in contact with us as well. So until next time, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us, and we're looking forward to our future conversations with you. Everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.